Welcome back, everyone, to Today in Woburn's election series. Today, we are meeting with Ward 3 Councilor and City Council President Jeff Dillon, who is running unopposed in November's election. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. We're excited to have you on the show.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you to you for doing this. And of course, thank Woburn Public Media for all they do for our community, whether it's the football games, one of the other sporting events, or covering all the city events. They do a great job and they really get the word out. And I know I'm not the only one at City Council that appreciates their efforts.
Well, thanks, Jeff. Woburn Public Media is pretty great. So I'd love to know, as we're coming quickly up onto election day, you're running unopposed. What's motivating you to continue running for city council and for serving?
Sure. That's a great question. I would say the easy answer is the love I have for the city, in the community, in the different things that we offer. I have the privilege to say that I grew up a lifelong resident here of Woburn, and that doesn't mean we don't appreciate all our newcomers and the people that are here 20, 30, 40 years, but closing in on 67 years for me here. So I really do love the city of Woburn, and I appreciate the opportunities that were given to me throughout my schooling here, the sports, the warm welcome. It's often said that Woburn is a big city, yet when you need help or somebody's in a troubled spot, the community really embraces the people. I've seen it personally, and that's why I would live nowhere else but Woburn right here. As we say, we have Pond, the library, our events we have, whether it be the Halloween parade coming up Sunday, as well as the Woburn Winchester Thanksgiving game. They're all such great traditions, and I know other communities have them, but I don't think anyone does it as well as Woburn. So I'm going to say that's why I'm running. I want to do everything I can to help preserve those great qualities we have, as well as all the paperwork, hard work, meetings, and bureaucracy we have to go through to get this city in the right place, which we're in that direction.
Thanks, Jeff. So you've had the unique opportunity to be city council president for this last term. How was that experience for you? Maybe kind of what was a high, or something that stood out for you from the last term?
Sure. Another great question. It was a great honor and privilege to serve as city council president. That vote takes place on our swearing in, and I just can't say enough for my city council members who had faith in me. We have a city council in front of us now that really works extremely hard. They do their homework, they do their due diligence, and that makes my job as city council president much more easy than if we had a council that just wasn't with it. They work hard, they show up, they do their homework, and they make sure that they deliberate to the point that we try awfully hard to make sure everything gets done properly. One of the things that I'm very happy as city council president I get to do is to meet daily and talk daily. Well, meet almost every day, but certainly talk every day to Mayor Concannon. He has an open door policy. He has his department heads meeting every Thursday at 10 o'clock. He invites any city council member that wants to go there. And we get a lot of work done, a lot of communication done, and we always make sure that there are 3 or less city council members there so that we don't get in trouble with any open meeting law. But a lot of work gets done during those meetings, and some of the other city council members that perhaps have a family obligation or work obligation, it's a great tool that I'm able to go to those meetings and get the information out to them in a timely fashion. So that's just a couple things. Of course, there's the lining everyone up for volunteer efforts that we all have. As city council president, I kind of lead the charge on that, and just being part of the community and keeping everyone in the loop.
Great, thank you. Could you talk a little bit about what's going on in your ward right now? Maybe what are a couple of hot button topics?
Sure. Right now, we have a couple big projects going on. One is the Hurl Park, which is a heat and flood resilient park. And what that consists of is the 11 acres up there, the old former Hurl School. We've taken the school down. The drainage is in now for much of what needs to be done as part of the flood resilient part of it. And we are going forward with a children's playground, open field, hopefully in the money in the budget, a small scale splash pad and walking trails. And that will all be up in the top half where the hurl used to be. And then we have the bottom half, which I'll call phase two. And that will be more of a natural setting, replicating a wetland, rebuilding the wetland that is currently there, but over the years has filled in and no longer is an efficient wetland. Walking trails, more of a wildlife area, walking and not as active or more passive than up above. So we have that going, and we're hoping, and you always want to under promise and over deliver. So here comes the catch, right? We're hoping to have some a soft opening on the upper half by end of the summer, fall this coming year. So that's exciting. Then we have another exciting project we have going on is the Plimpton Open Space, which after decades we finally got the Plimpton School taken down, and that is under way for being more open green space. That's a much smaller area, so there's not as much that you could possibly do there. And even with the limited parking, so the residents and neighbors really requested more just green space, trees, some plantings, and some benches. So we're underway there. We've had a bunch of neighborhood meetings, and we're getting there. So both those projects right now are underway, and at the Herald we meet every 2 weeks. In the Plimpton open space, we've had 3 or 4 meetings with the residents. One as lately as this past Wednesday. So all good stuff. And of course, constituent services. I pride myself in constituent services. We have some issues that we work with in the neighborhood with some local businesses that we're working on that, as we know, it's a balance between businesses and the residents. And we need the businesses and the companies in the city to certainly help with our tax rate, which is much better than many communities around us, anywhere in the state. So businesses are an important part. So I have that going on as well. And just going out there, knocking at the door on my campaign trail the last week and a half, and we'll continue right up to election in the ward, and meeting people and talking to them, and it's all good stuff.
You're knocking on doors, which I love that you're still checking in with your constituents, even though you're not facing an opponent. What are the conversations that you're having with residents? What are you hearing from them as far as concerns or things that keep popping up?
Yeah, well, The number one big concern is, as we always hear, traffic and unfortunately, the speed of the traffic, which is disappointing. And as we know, we're in a location where we have 93, 128. Well, they call it 95 now, but I'm old. I call it 128. And whenever there's a backup on the highway, either one of those fairways, of course, what happens? Traffic deviates to our city and uses our city roads. Well, that's public roads, that's what's happened. But the reality is, it really does cause a certain amount of inconvenience to the residents. So I'm hearing that. And as well, the lack of courtesy that some of the drivers with the speed, and maybe because I'm a grandfather and I'm retired, so I'm not as quite on the time clock that I used to be. But even when I was, I just wish everybody would drive to every neighborhood street like it was their own neighborhood. And I think if people drove through the streets like it was their own neighborhood, and bear in mind there's kids playing in the front yard, riding bikes, would have so much better of a lifestyle. But it is a concern. The city is, again, on those weekly meetings, it's talked about what can we do to improve traffic? Can we do better with the timing of the streetlights? As you know, and I'm sure most of the city already knows, we have the new North Woburn Bridge going in. That's going to help. Cambridge Road is on the slate to get improved as far as down on the Burlington line, that intersection. That will help. So I think the residents need to know that their concerns don't fall on deaf ears. Mayor Concanon, DPW, Planning Board, they listen, and we are trying to correct the traffic issues we have here. We have something called the Traffic Commission in the city. Um, Councilor Papalato was the chair on that, and he does a great job. We have Councilor DeMambro is one of the members there, and then we have a member from the police department, the fire department, and general population of Woburn we have a member of as well. And they do a great job just trying to figure out what can be done to improve traffic flow, volume of traffic, and the speed of traffic and parking.
Thank you. And, we have absolutely heard that traffic and speed has been a big issue that we've been hearing really from all corners of the city. So it's great to know that there's kind of a bigger strategy to it, and that it's not just necessarily ward by ward, but that leadership is really looking at it from a city perspective. So that's great. Thank you. Shifting a little bit, because as we talked about, you are unopposed. What would you say are a couple of top priorities for you for the upcoming term?
Sure. One of the big ones, again, is to continue on my constituent services. I think it is difficult sometimes, even for city council members, even for some of the people in City Hall, just to navigate the process. So when you ask the typical Joe citizen, they need to figure out a particular process or how to find something out. That's one of our big deals, in my opinion, that we're there to make sure that that process is easier. So I always want to make sure constituent services are number one. Of course, in chambers, we always have special permits, different things coming in front of us. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, that it's always a balance between we need those businesses, we need those companies, we need their tax revenue to offset our tax revenue for the residents, to offset our water rates for the residents, because they truly do take the burden of the taxes. And I know we all have to pay our taxes, but without the businesses the residents would really, it would be difficult for many people in this community because, again, I still think Woburn is very much a blue collar community, working community, where many people don't know that 40% of our housing stock is rentals. So, those people are working paycheck to paycheck, senior citizens, depending on their savings and social security. So the businesses are an important part of our whole aspect.
Thanks, Jeff. You've been talking about kind of the businesses and balancing, the need for more tax revenue. And I'm wondering, you know, as these difficult topics come up, what's an approach for you that you use when, you have to make a decision as a member of city council, and maybe it's not a popular decision? Like, how do you explain that to your constituency?
Sure. Um, I listen to my constituents. I really do. Often I may want to um, look at it a little different than my constituents, but if the majority of my constituents and call me and say, look it, or email me and say, this is what we want. I am the voice of the people. That's where I was elected. I have my own opinions, and they're important as well, but you really do have to listen to what the people are saying because we are their say. That's why they elect us to sit in the chambers and make these difficult decisions. And I will tell you, um, I'd like to see more participation from the citizens of Woburn, and not just on the big hot topics. Every time we have a city council meeting, every decision we make there is an important decision for the future of Woburn. So I never complain or say we have full chambers or we have a lot of people here. I encourage it. It's part of the democracy we live in, and it's what makes our city and the whole country great.
Great, thank you. And so when you're thinking about, making sure that you're engaging residents in the process, and how do you measure success as a city councilor and even as city council president? Like, what does success look like for you?
Sure. That's the feedback I get. I was at my grandson's soccer game this past weekend, and a gentleman that who I spoke to on the phone, him and his wife, but I never met, they walked up to me and they said, "Hey, we're such and such, and we just want to introduce ourselves. You helped us out with an issue, and albeit wasn't a major issue, it was major to us where we lived, and we called you, you acted on it, and within less than 3 or 4 days, it was taken care of." That's how I think we measure our jobs, as well as the hard work we do in chambers, the work we do out volunteering for different events, helping with the community. It's all important, in my opinion, as a city councilor. I don't want to be that city councilor, and we don't have any in Woburn, fortunately. I don't want to be that person that just goes in when the lights turn on and the camera goes on. There's a lot of hard work that goes through it. And as I say, we have a great city council, and each and every one of them puts in a great effort.
Thank you so much for your time today, Jeff. Is there anything else you want to share with the voters before you go?
Sure. Again, I'm out there knocking on doors, and you pointed out I am unopposed, but that doesn't mean that you sit back and you relax and you sit on your laurels. What it does mean is you are fortunate enough to be able to spend more time getting out there and meeting with the people, seeing what's on their minds, and making sure everything's good in the neighborhood. Let's face it, if you're not happy in your house, you're not happy in your neighborhood. It's a tough life. I know we have some things that in Woburn that aren't perfect, but I guarantee you, and I tell you, they are not being neglected, they're being looked at. Um, I just thank you, Carla, and again, Woburn Public Media for your time. I thank my constituents in Ward 3 for the faith they have in me every year, every 2 years by electing me. I thank my city council that the faith they had in electing me as city council president. And I humbly ask for your vote November 4th. In the meantime, to get in touch with me, my cell phone, 781-460-3298. My email to reelect, it's reelect Dillon Ward 3 at gmail.com. And Facebook, Jeff Dillon for Council Ward 3. Facebook, I'm still getting my feet wet. Is a good friend of ours, yours and mine, Samantha Stone, has helped me with that. Before I met Samantha, I thought Facebook was something that you read in the newspaper, but she's helped me out. So
Yeah,
I just appreciate it.
yeah, no, the city's done a really great job of getting a good following of their Facebook page and being able to really put some stuff on there. But welcome to Facebook. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today, Jeff. Good luck on election day. I'm sure we'll see you out there at the polls with your signs, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Carla. And again, thanks to Woburn Public Media for their efforts. Have a great night.